Hello everyone. So in my last video at the end, I said that I was going to give you the steps that it took to go from this body to this body. So there's 4 years apart here. So I was 30 on the first picture, and I'm currently 34 looking how I do on the latest picture. I've just got back of holiday from Catalonia, and that is just a candid picture taken with my beautiful daughter. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through the 6 steps that I took over these last few years progressively to accumulate to looking how I do. Step number 1. So the first step was what I used to do, big mistake, was I used to just eat whole foods. So I would not think about how much of the foods I was eating, how many macros I was eating, like how much protein, how much carbs, how much fats. I was simply just eating healthily. And what that eventually did was I was training hard, probably too hard, not progressively enough, and I burnt myself out. And to that degree, I ended up holding a lot more body fat than required because I was too stressed and my body was not actually eating enough calories to fulfill the muscles. So I was low in weight. However, that weight was consistent of body fat and then some muscle, whereas now it's converted into way more muscle. And what I started doing is I started eating 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So at this time, I was around about 80 to 83 kilograms. So I started eating upwards of around about 160 to 200 grams of protein. Now I'm weighing in at just shy of 77 kilograms. I'm just as strong. However, I eat way more protein than I did before, which is then filling my muscles out, which makes me have less body fat and then look more fuller, which in turn has made me have loads more energy, and I feel absolutely great for it. It has been a complete game changer. Step number 2, I stopped absolutely smashing myself down the gym. So I used to be an avid CrossFitter, and what you find with CrossFit, if it's not programmed correctly, is that you just constantly beast yourself, redlining all the time, which again was another severe stressor. So I was on low calories, as I mentioned in step 1, and then I was also exerting a lot of calories by trying to constantly redline myself, finding that in turn I was constantly stressed. And if you're constantly stressed, generally your body wants to hold on to body fat, especially in the lower abdomen and in the face. So what I started doing is slowing my training right down. I got into some mobility work. I started working on progressive overload like the bodybuilders do. And then I would then incorporate some conditioning in it, but conditioning wouldn't be the main element of the session, which is what I was finding. And I was taking more rest periods, so I was recovering better in the sessions, but then I was taking recovery days. I was doing zone 2 cardiovascular work, which was aiding my recovery. So what I found is that I was way less stressed, but progressing more, growing more muscle, which then requires more protein and a higher metabolic rate because I have more muscle mass. So in eating the correct amount of protein and then starting to train in a lot more of a logical, tactical way, it then fell that I was starting to gain more muscle, being less stressed, so then I was less inflamed, so then I started losing body fat. Which then leads me to step 3. So step 3 was going back to how I used to train, was I'd just beast myself, but also what I'd do outside the gym is I'd just be really lazy. So I'd work really hard in the gym and I'd just be really lazy. Because I was so tired as well, but I'd just be sitting down a lot, and I'd be lying down a lot. But now what I'd do is I'd train a lot smarter, and then I'd have a lot more time to put some more steps in. So I'd aim for around about 7,000, 10,000 steps a day, which higher step count equals generally a higher mortality rate. So all I'm trying to do is become healthier. I'm not trying to be this best person in the gym, and that equals more steps, more general movement, not just absolutely blasting yourself in every gym session and then just being lazy everywhere. And then into step 4. So in step 4, this is me putting all these healthy conclusions together, and I feel like they're pretty obvious, but also I would consider myself as healthy, but I wasn't as healthy as what I thought I was. So step 4 is I stopped eating so much crap. So I would eat whole, organic, good quality foods, and I'll start hitting my macros, which was great, but I'd still have sweets, chocolate, refined sugar. So I'd eat a healthy meal, but then I'd have, I don't know, a cheeky chocolate bar or something like that, a couple of sweets and whatever was going there in the office, especially when I was in the military, cakes, whatever, it was always there. So I would generally have a little bit here, a little bit there throughout the day. And then that obviously adds up. So firstly, I'm creating more calories. So then that's going to keep my body fat a little bit higher, or I'm going to need to burn more. But I lean way less away from the calories and I look more at the quality. And actually, I was just finding myself very inflamed. And then earlier on this year, so the start of 2025, when I had my daughter, I was like, right, I'm going to stop eating so much rubbish because I can do better, and I want to set a really good example for her. And in that, I stopped eating sweets. I stopped eating chocolate. I'd replace them with berries, fruits, honey, on yogurt and stuff like that. And my body changed so quickly. It's never changed so quickly in probably all my life, just from cutting out that rubbish. I was never inflamed, so I was always bloated. I've always had a problem with bloatedness, and it turns out that was nothing to do with I've got IBS or I just struggle to consume some foods. It's because I was eating so much crap, and I was just always bloated. And I didn't think I'd ate that much crap, and I think compared to a lot of people, I didn't. However, just the amount I was really affecting me. And then as soon as I cut it out, I can't remember the last time I was bloated. This year, anyway, I have not been bloated this year. And if I think about it, the only times I have is when I've had a Saturday or a weekend where we've gone away and I've just been like, right, I'm going to kind of let my hair down this weekend. And then by the end of the weekend, I feel more bloated. And obviously it has a link of not really caring, and my bloatedness comes back. So inflammation was completely gone, and it just cut out them areas where I felt like I would just hold body fat and feel bloated. And now I just never do, which is out of all of it, that's the biggest step I'll take away, was just cutting out the crap, because I feel so good for it and I feel my energy is way higher from it. So step number 5, a little bit of a story behind it. When I was younger, I always wanted to be absolutely shredded, and I wanted to be completely shredded, and I wanted to look the best and be the fittest. Oh my God, get away. But that usually leads to unhealthy habits. You want to eat less because you want lower calories, because you want to see your bottom abs, which then you're trying to beast yourself down the gym, which is all the stuff I was saying about in the steps before, which I used to do incorrectly. But thankfully, because I actually a lot of the time struggled to be as lean or as muscular as what I wanted to be, because I wasn't taking the correct protocols, it made me turn my mindset around health and fitness, that going to the gym wasn't just to look a certain way, it was to move your body correctly and just be very proud of what your body can do, less about what it looks like. So I've always looked at health and fitness as a tool to be more mentally stable, be more physically able, be more emotionally stable, keep your mindset correct, pursue for hard goals, and constantly trying to push yourself or aim for something. It was always a bigger picture for me, thankfully. Otherwise, if I just wanted to just be the most ripped all of the time, I'd have completely given up a long time ago. But since I've been focusing way more on health, turns out the body that I probably always wanted, I've got. I'm not saying I'm the most ripped person in the world. I never would claim to be that. And actually, I don't think I really want to be either. However, I think I'm in relatively good shape for a 34-year-old who is definitely on no enhancements. The only thing I take is creatine and protein. And the protein is just to up my overnight oats. And then creatine I have in with that are vary between 5 to 10 grams a day. But other than that, I live a very normal lifestyle. I train once a day. Sometimes I'll chuck in a second session, but I will always recover at least once a week, maybe twice a week as well, have a rest day, should I say. So I think I live quite an attainable lifestyle for everyone. And because I focus way more on health, in turn, the person that I always wanted to look like when I was trying to look like it, I now look like, but I'm not actually trying to look like it, if that makes sense. And it's weird how it all works out, that actually when you focus more on like just that quality, then you end up looking more quality, as opposed to trying to get them quick fixes, them low calorie diets, or that beasting yourself in the gym all the time. Actually, when you let your body recover, be less stressed, rest, and just be a lot more zen, then actually it comes with it. So I'd say think about the long run, think about what your body can do, make sure you're feeding it and fueling it correctly, and things will happen. And I've taught, thankfully, we've down the gym, we've taught a lot of people this, and slowly but surely they're starting to realize and see results, but because they're focusing more on health. So that is a big step. Step number 5, think about the bigger picture, not the small micro goals, like what's that one, 6-pack revolution or slimming world. Don't think about them ones. Think about what your body can do in 20 years time. And usually the training that's good quality training, the eating that's good quality eating, movement, rest, recovery will all add towards what you probably want as a body type, but then also how you want to be when you're older. I'm going to get this fly in a second. And step 6. So step 6 is a bit of a bonus step in a way. They're generally them 5 that I've gone through. They're 100% the main ones. But the 6th one is actually it's focusing more on like lifting and the weights that you're lifting. And what I mean by that is, so for me as a male physique, what I would like aesthetically is bigger delts / arms, upper chest, traps, lats, which then make the waist look smaller. And I just got stronger in the areas. I got stronger everywhere. I actually started to learn to like lift heavier weights. I was never that strong, but I thought I just wasn't naturally strong. Again, it just turns out I wasn't following a good program. Whenever I followed a good progressive program, I got way stronger. And then when you get stronger, usually you require more muscle fiber recruitment in that area. So the muscle is gonna get bigger, so hypertrophy. And if your muscle gets bigger, usually it fills out, and it usually fills out in the correct way, so you look a certain way. So it's like a bonus one in a way. Everything, all their other steps, they'll work. And then as long as you're starting to progressively push your body and your muscles have no other choice other than to get bigger. And if they're getting bigger in the right areas, which usually most people naturally, it just happens, then you'll usually end up looking a certain way. So it's really hard because I don't want to focus on aesthetics, because I think aesthetics is one of the things that will come with it. However, if you do want the aesthetics, you have to follow all the right steps for health, and usually actually 100% getting stronger, creating more muscle mass is better for your longevity, your long-term health. So focus on quality, focus on good lifting, and then when muscles come, they'll fill out in the right places. Your body fat will go down because most of your calories and your protein will go to your muscles, and it won't be held because you're less stressed and you're recovering more. I hope all that makes enough sense for you to go away and take some steps away. If not, please give me a message, comment on the video, and then I'll try and make it more clearer, or I'll try and, I don't know, contact you and see if I can break it down for you or your situation. Okay? Cheers for watching. As always, guys, thank you very much. See you in the next video. Come on, I'll see you in the next video. I'll make another one. I think the next one is going to be our year birthday party. So we have been open, Op24, don't know if you can see it in the camera. We have been open a year, which is crazy. We've got a catering team coming in to do the barbecue. We've got a cocktail team to obviously run all the drinks. We've got a DJ coming in because we're doing a fitness event. We've got an ice cream van coming. We've got everything. It's going to be massive. So come along, please. We want to see everyone here. Big barbecue, loads of faces, everyone smiling, have a good time. That's what we want, okay? See you then. 12.